Here we are, guys, in part 34 of this story. In the land of waves, our favorite blonde encounters the Kyuubi. Watch the subsequent events unfold as Naruto uses the power that was sealed inside of him on the day of his birth. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Now, let's begin. Tamari-san, we should hurry if we are to provide any necessary support to the rest of my team, said Sakura as she left the hospital, prepared to head out. Within her hand, she had an extra 2 doses of the antidote used to neutralize Sasori's poison. She was just hoping that she wouldn't actually have to use them. Near the gate of the village, Sakura was met by about a dozen or so Suna shinobi, led by Tamari. "This is all I could muster around the village to go and retrieve Gaara," said Tamari. "Most of our shinobi are maintaining defensive positions throughout the country. Surely you must understand. Without a Kazekage, we must keep up a show of strength or other villages may try to take advantage of our situation." "I understand," said Sakura as she surveyed the group. Tamari and Baki were amongst them, as well as a girl who looked no older than Sakura with neck-length brown hair and her headband tied around her neck. Sakura knew this girl as Matsuri, a newly minted chunin from Suna. She didn't know the girl as well as Tamari, but they had met at the previous chunin exams in Suna where her and Shikamaru were assigned to accompany the Jonin as escorts. Not including Tamari, it was this girl who appeared to be the most concerned for her Kazekage. Of course, Sakura knew the reason behind this. Just from some of the brief interactions she witnessed between Matsuri and Gaara, she could easily tell this girl was crushing on the bachelor cage. Now if only Gaara wasn't as dense as Naruto used to be. "Are we ready to go?" "I have their scent," spoke Pakun. "Hold on," called out a new voice. Sakura and Tamari turned to see the aged Chio walking towards them. "I'm coming as well." "I thought you didn't care what happened," asked Baki. "That may be, but I may get a chance to see my grandson one last time and hopefully bring some form of closure to him," said Chio. "You are aware that if my team found Gaara, that they'll most likely engage in combat with the Akatsuki, including Sasori?" reminded Sakura. "I am aware," said Chio. "Then if you want any chance at seeing him, I suggest we hurry. I have confidence in Kakashi-sensei, Sasuke-kun, and Naruto," replied Sakura. "So you think I'll get there to find my grandson dead then, little girl?" asked Chio. "Yes," replied Sakura without any doubt. "Well then we had better hurry," said Chio. "I hope the years haven't taken its toll on the village as much as I think it has. Try and keep up." With that, Chio had just run out of the village at a pace that would make a certain spandex-clad jonin proclaim something, despite being 73 years of age, about her youthful flames burning as bright as ever. Hatake Kakashi, S-rank ninja of Konohagakure and Jonin sensei of 3 of the most promising ninja the village had ever produced, stared across the collapsed cavern at his opponent. Over the years, Kakashi had faced various opponents, from Jonin and comrades in friendly spars to some of the most powerful shinobi produced by the elemental nations in the past 2 decades. Still, this opponent would prove to be the most challenging yet. Across from him stood Sasori of the Red Sands. Thanks to his years of experience as a ninja, Kakashi was familiar enough with how the puppet users of Tsunade operated. They fought using their puppets, equipped with numerous hidden weapons. And if Kakashi's hunch was correct, those weapons were most likely poisoned. "Whatever happens, I can't let his weapons hit me," thought Kakashi, lifting his headband to reveal his Sharingan. "And that thing in front of me, there's no way that can be Sasori, or even human. I wonder." And then it began. Kakashi began the battle by testing out a flurry of shuriken. Sasori moved his steel tail to block Kakashi's shuriken, however, shuriken shadow clone jutsu. Kakashi's shuriken immediately multiplied into roughly 100 copies and shredded the Akatsuki member. Unfortunately, Kakashi's attack only managed to tatter Sasori's robes. What Kakashi saw underneath the robes confirmed his initial suspicions. So that is a puppet. Then does that mean Sasori's hidden himself inside? That would explain why I can see any chakra strings coming out of it. It looks like I'm going to have to get in there and destroy the thing if I'm going to get to Sasori. As Kakashi charged, Sasori's mouth opened up in a puppet-like fashion and a barrage of senbon were shot towards the copy ninja. "Doton, mud wall," shouted Kakashi, raising a slab of earth in front of him to block the most likely poison senbon. Kakashi then ducked down as the tail came slithering around the wall, aiming for his head. While the tail missed Kakashi, with a single slice, Sasori dragged the bladed tail through the wall, separating him from his target. As the tail recalled, Kakashi prepared his next attack, However, the gauntlet that was on Sasori's hand came sailing over top of the fallen wall, and Kakashi's eyes widened as it exploded, directly in his face and spraying him with dozens of senbon. Sasori merely chuckled as Kakashi fell to the ground. I honestly expected the famed Sharingan Kakashi to put up more of a fight. Oh well, at least he'll make a fine 299th puppet to my collection. And if Deidara doesn't blow up Uchiha Sasuke, that could make for a nice 300th, though Itachi probably won't be happy. Reikiri. From directly underneath where Sasori had situated himself, Kakashi burst from the ground in rubble, Reikiri roaring away as it easily sliced through Sasori's puppet, Hiroku. As Kakashi landed, a blur shot out from the destroyed puppet, landing just opposite Kakashi on the rubble-filled battleground. As Kakashi laid eyes upon Sasori, he was shocked at the Akatsuki member's appearance. If his information from the bingo book was correct, Sasori should have been older than him. However, the person standing just opposite of him looked to be not much older than Naruto, maybe early 20s at the very oldest. And unfortunately for Kakashi, the surprises did not stop there as Sasori revealed a storage scroll from his sleeve. Now there's the Sharingan Kakashi I expected. It appears as if it'll require my best and personal favorite if I intend to add you to my collection. Add me to his collection? What's he talking about? Thought Kakashi as he braced himself for whatever was sealed within that scroll. As Sasori's next puppet revealed itself, Kakashi was utterly shocked. It was the Sundaime Kazekage. That's the Sundaime Kazekage, exclaimed a surprised Kakashi. But why was the Sundaime Kazekage here? And why was he a puppet? Not giving Kakashi much more time to think about why he was suddenly facing a puppetized Kazekage, the puppet's left arm shot towards Kakashi, who easily was able to dodge the attack. However, Kakashi soon realized it wasn't going to be that simple as many arms suddenly appeared out of nowhere, the result of several storage seals embedded within the arm, and attacked the now airborne copy ninja. Kakashi reactivated his Reikiri and easily sliced through the attacking arms. Again, it wasn't going to be that simple. As soon as Kakashi regained his footing, the arms that he had cut off with his Reikiri transformed to reveal a number of spinning blades, and the right arm of the Kazekage puppet flipped open to reveal a number of blades as well. Now Sasori figured it was time to send in his most prized puppet at the Kazekage puppet charged forth towards Kakashi, wielding more blades than Kakashi could count with his Sharingan. Kakashi quickly leapt back, towards the water and began a jutsu that would hopefully match those arm blades. Suten. Great Waterfall Jutsu. The powerful vortex of water shot towards Sasori, ripping through puppet arms and rock alike. Kakashi stood there, panting. He had already used Reikiri twice along with that last chakra-consuming water jutsu. Add in the Sharingan and the fact that he had been moving a lot to dodge Sasori's attacks, Kakashi was starting to feel the fatigue. A few years ago, that would have been it for him. He would have been out of chakra to do much more. However, the last few years proved to be a godsend for not only his strength and power, but also his stamina. It was because of the past few years of training that he still had a lot of gas left in the tank. However, the last thing he wanted to do was fight a drawn-out battle with an Akatsuki member. Both Sasuke and Naruto had their problems to deal with, and he wanted to be able to back up his students should the need arise. With any luck, Sasori would be weakened after that attack and he could finish the fight quickly. Sadly, that would not happen. Kakashi's eyes widened as he eyed a large black wall in front of where Sasori was standing. That wall had managed to absorb the force of his jutsu, but the question was, where did it come from? It didn't look like stone or anything a ninja would use in a last-ditch effort to shield himself, it looked like iron. Moments later, the wall began to break apart into a fine sand-like substance. It was then that Kakashi realized what it was, Jiten in the iron sand, the very ability the Sandaime Kazekage was revered for. Iron sand showers, shouted Sasori as the Kazekage puppet unleashed a barrage of iron bullets towards Kakashi. Standing on the water's surface, Kakashi quickly deactivated the chakra flow to his feet that was keeping him buoyant and disappeared beneath the surface of the water as the iron just barely passed over his head. The iron bullets crashed into the bank behind where Kakashi was standing, sending large amounts of rock and earth into the river with Kakashi. Sasori maneuvered the iron to hover just above the surface of the water, knowing full well that humans couldn't hold their breath forever. As Kakashi leapt out of the water, he launched a barrage of shuriken towards Sasori. Shuriken Shadow Clone. Taking another shot with that jutsu, the shuriken multiplied, but they froze in mid-air before the Kazekage. Sasori grinned, and with a flick of his wrist, the shuriken shot back towards Kakashi, piercing his body through. Sasori's grin was wiped from his face as Kakashi turned out to be a shadow clone. Sasori soon realized what was going on and jumped back as Kakashi burst from the ground, going for the direct attack on the puppeteer himself. Kakashi though was quicker than Sasori, and even though he had dodged the first attack, Kakashi had already rebounded, activating a Chidori and thrusting his hand towards Sasori. Instead of meeting flesh, Kakashi's hand met metal as his Chidori was stopped by a disc formed of the iron sand. Against most materials, the Chidori would have gone through the shield with ease, but this metal held. Kakashi was forced into a retreat as the shield suddenly became a large spear and attacked him. After nearly being hit by Kakashi's attack, Sasori was keeping the Sandaime Kazekage puppet near him. As the puppet sent the spear to attack Kakashi, the copy ninja found himself on the defensive, evading the large iron sand spear to the best of his ability. The attacks were fast and Kakashi was struggling with all his energy to evade. "Enough of this," called out Sasori. "Iron sand, needle sphere." The Kazekage puppet suddenly rose as the iron sand collected around him. Kakashi could only look on as numerous jagged spikes erupted from the gathered ball of iron sand and shot out towards him. The attack was far too widespread and random for his Sharingan to predict any sort of movement, or even for him to hope to evade. The iron needle slammed into Kakashi as the Konoha Jonin did his best to minimize the damage. Still, one of the spikes had managed to pierce his leg while 2 or 3 more cut through his arms and side. Kakashi was trapped, injured, and already feeling the effects of the poison working through his system. Wanting to end this quickly, Sasori sent the puppet to finish Kakashi off. However, he missed the smirk on Kakashi's face, either due to the fact that he thought he had Kakashi or, the fact that Kakashi was wearing a mask. The Kazekage puppet had just walked straight into Kakashi's trap. The copy ninja began sparking before bursting into lightning, revealing him to be nothing more than a lightning clone. With the Kakashi clone acting as the power source, the Kazekage puppet was soon caught in an electrifying net. The iron sand conducted Kakashi's electricity perfectly, and unlike the shield, which was merely hovering in the air and not connected to anything in order to conduct an electrical current, there were many ways for the electricity to travel towards its target. The puppet was hit with about 10,000 volts of electricity as the overload of electrical current began splintering the puppet body until it finally collapsed to the ground, defeated. Sasori was not happy. No, he was furious. Kakashi had destroyed one of the most valuable pieces of his prized puppet collection. "It appears as if you're stronger than I thought, Sharingan Kakashi," said Sasori, killing intent leaking from his voice, as Kakashi emerged from some of the surrounding rubble, unharmed. "You've defeated my precious Sandaime Kazekage, so I doubt any more of my living puppets will be able to take you on. However, I do have one puppet that is more than enough for you." The sight of the young Akatsuki member removing his cloak shook Kakashi to the core. He had seen many appalling things over the years, but this was easily near the top of the list. He couldn't have actually done something like that, thought Kakashi. This was on the same scale as Orochimaru's immortality jutsu. Somehow, Sasori had made himself into a puppet. "It honestly has been a while. I can't even remember a time since joining Akatsuki where I've had to use myself," said Sasori as a long cable with a spear point snaked out of his midsection and planted itself in the ground beneath Sasori's feet. From Sasori's back, 2 more appendages extended and a series of 4 blades spiraled around the tip. Kakashi's Sharingan took in the image of the puppet like Sasori. Everything about him was fake and artificial, except for a certain container in his chest. That was the only thing that looked even remotely organic. Sasori then turned his full, undivided attention upon Kakashi and opened up his palm. Kakashi had maybe a second at most to react as he slammed his open palms into the ground. Doton, mud wall. The earth wall rose from the ground just in time to intercept the pressurized water jet aimed for Kakashi's head. Even with his earthen wall for protection, Kakashi barely had time to catch his breath as the water jet made quick work of his wall. Normally, earth trumped water, but in this case the pressure of the water jet turned out to be too much and his wall just crumbled against the pressure. Once again, Kakashi was on the run from Sasori's attack. If that jet hit him, he wouldn't have to worry about getting poisoned by Sasori. The hole would be enough of a concern for him. But even still, the water worked to his advantage. Raiten, Lightning Beast Fang. After channeling lightning chakra to his hands, Kakashi allowed it to trail behind him before it formed into a Reiju, making a straight line for Sasori's water jet. Sasori cut the flow of water just in time, right before Kakashi's lightning jutsu could make contact with his water jet and use it to conduct a nasty electrical shock straight to the source. Given Kakashi's lightning-natured chakra, the puppet master quickly realized that using water on Kakashi was like playing with fire. So he decided to switch to a more user-friendly element, fire. "Sutin, water wall," shouted Kakashi as he quickly discharged a powerful wave of water in order to combat the inferno of Sasori's flamethrowers. The two elements collided and a massive cloud of steam erupted throughout the collapsed cavern. Had it not have been for Kakashi's experience and Sharingan, he would not have been able to detect the spear cable intent on running him through. Kakashi disengaged his water jutsu and jumped to the side, avoiding the cable and the stream of fire that he now had no control over. However, Kakashi saw his opportunity and activated a Chidori before grabbing the cable. The cable provided a quick shock to Sasori before the end of it grounded itself in a nearby rock and giving the electrical current a more ideal path to travel instead of to the puppet master. Sasori hadn't taken nearly as big of a shock as Kakashi had hoped, but anything helped. As the copy ninja looked down at his hand, he noticed a purple liquid covering his glove. So this was the poison Sasori used. Kakashi was no expert in poisons, but he was aware of many different types through years of experience. Just by looking at the poison, he couldn't recall anything that matched it, but then again this was Sasori of the Red Sands. The poison was most likely a creation of his. It was standard for ninja to keep a basic antidote in their standard first aid kit that worked against most simple poisons. Still, Kakashi had his doubts that antidote would work against this poison. It may slow down the poison's effects, but he would need a specialized antidote should he get hit. Sasori's cable retracted, and as the steam cleared, Kakashi realized that he wasn't out of the woods. If anything, things had just gotten more difficult. Sasori was now staring at Kakashi with a maniacal look on his face and 100 chakra strings coming out of his chest, each attached to a puppet. "Hatake Kakashi. I didn't think it would come to this, but you've wasted too much of my time. I use these to take down an entire nation. I'll use them to take you out," declared Sasori before he actually began to laugh. "I really can't believe you've driven me this far. You truly are something. If your body manages to survive this, perhaps I'll give you the honor of replacing the Kazekage as my most prized puppet. You know, I immortalized my parents in puppets. The same parents that were killed by Konoha's White Fang during the Second War. Oh, the irony, to think I would wind up facing the son of the one who took my parents' lives. But I will admit, this has been fun, Kakashi. Perhaps we can do this again sometime, once you become my puppet." Red secret technique, performance of 100 puppets. Kakashi immediately braced himself as all 100 puppets descended upon him. "Even this is too much," groaned Kakashi. The only one who could match Sasori in terms of numbers would be Naruto. Right now, 6 clones is the most I could hope for. But even they wouldn't be enough to take on this many puppets. Kakashi closed his eyes, and to Sasori it looked as if Kakashi had accepted his defeat. "And besides, I need the chakra for something else." Kakashi's eyes slowly opened to reveal a Sharingan, but one different from his normal Sharingan. Instead of the typical 3 tomoe arranged in a circular pattern around a black pupil, this Sharingan took on the resemblance of 3 scythes arranged in a curricle around a red pupil. Kamui. To say Sasori was shocked was a complete understatement. As his puppet army approached Kakashi, intent on ending the battle there, they were soon caught in a vortex of time and space, originating from what appeared to be Kakashi's Sharingan eye. Sasori could only watch as his army was sucked into that vortex, never to be seen by him again. Kakashi was beginning to pant hard. Throughout the fight, he had resorted to using Chidori over Reikiri in order to conserve chakra. Until now, he had been doing well on conserving chakra, but that Kamui took a lot out of him. Still, it had to be done if he had any hopes of surviving against the puppets. "I need to end this fast and kill him. Though a puppet body really can't be killed, I suppose. However, if he's able to use chakra, then part of him has to be alive," thought Kakashi as his eyes drifted to the purple cylinder in Sasori's chest. "That's gotta be it. If I can strike that, I think I can end this little charade." Kakashi was also hoping Sasori didn't have any more puppets on him to use. Another puppet would just cost him energy and time. Kakashi wasn't sure if it was due to rage or desperation, but Sasori's blades began to spin at a high speed, allowing him to hover off the ground. Sasori readied his cable like a spear, intent on running him through as the puppet master darted towards Kakashi. This was Kakashi's chance. Activating Reikiri, he was going to make this one count as he ran towards Sasori at full speeds as well. Reading every subtle movement with his Sharingan, Kakashi wasn't going to let Sasori get away from this one. The two fighters quickly approached one another and threw their attacks at each other. Kakashi's eye watched as his jutsu pierced through the organic piece in Sasori's chest, and a look of disbelief overcame Sasori's face for the last time before he died. However, a sharp pain in his side forced Kakashi to look down at a deep wound in his side. The spear cable didn't fully pierce him, but it grazed him. Still, it would have been enough to get the poison in his system. Kakashi had built up a respectable tolerance to poison, but already he could feel the poison begin to do its work. As a sharp pain shot through his abdomen, reaching into his bag, Kakashi grabbed an antidote from his first aid kit and took it. Most likely, it wouldn't cure this poison, but hopefully it would slow the effects down enough so he could get to Sakura. With one last look, Kakashi surveyed the field, looking for anything that might help them against Akatsuki in the future. But the burst of demonic chakra in the distance told him he had to hurry. "Katsu!" shouted Deidara as he launched two clay birds at the fleeing Naruto. The two explosive missiles were dodged, as were the dozens before now. Deidara had been chasing his target now for 15 minutes, and he was getting infuriated by Naruto's inability to just stand still and let himself become a work of art. Finally, Deidara decided just to charge in and knock Naruto off his feet. He was within inches of knocking the blonde over when a series of wires wrapped themselves around him and his clay bird, causing them to fall out of the air and allowing Naruto to dash away. As Deidara looked around to see just who the punk was to knock him of his bird, he eyed a familiar eye. "Sharingan, huh? So this is Itachi's little brother," said Deidara. He immediately noted the scowl on Sasuke's face at the mentioning of Itachi. "What do you know about Itachi?" demanded Sasuke. "Hey, wouldn't you like to know?" replied Deidara as he reached into his pouch with his one free hand and showered Sasuke with a barrage of tiny spiders. Sasuke quickly activated his Chidori and with a quick slash of his hand, sent out a barrage of Chidori Senbon to knock all of the tiny spiders out of the air. "If I'm right, the explosion release is inherently earth-based, meaning lightning should be able to trump earth and cancel out the explosions," thought Sasuke. He got his answer when Deidara tried to detonate his spiders, and only the few that hadn't been pierced by the Senbon exploded. With a quick sunshine, Sasuke appeared behind Deidara, sword drawn. Deidara's eyes widened as he ducked underneath the strike and jumped away from Sasuke. "Damn it, this isn't going to go over well now, is it? I only had enough time to grab my emergency reserves of clay, and the missing arm doesn't help either. I can't fight him in close combat, so..." Deidara took out a large mass of clay from his already limited reserves and quickly kneaded it before casting his jutsu. Immediately, a large dragon appeared behind Deidara, his C2 dragon. Sasuke charged at Deidara, trying to stop the bomber before he could get airborne. However, the dragon spat out a miniature version of itself and fired it towards Sasuke. Sasuke darted to the side, but the mini-dragon followed before Deidara made the hand sign to detonate it. Sasuke jumped back to escape the explosion but watched as Deidara took flight. Sasuke shot out with his Chidori sharp spear, hoping to pierce Deidara before he was able to gain some distance between them. "I'm going to have to apologize to Itachi-san later for killing his brother, but right now, you're mine," shouted Deidara as another dragon shot out of the dragon's mouth and towards Sasuke. Once again, Sasuke managed to dodge the explosion, but he wouldn't be able to continue dodging them forever. If he truly wanted to end this, then he'd have to stop dancing and actually hit the bastard. He needed something to knock Deidara out of the air. While Sasuke had a respectable arsenal of mid to long-range jutsus, his strongest jutsus still required him to be in close combat. It also didn't help that Deidara was a long-range fighter, and as long as he could keep his distance, he would have control over this battle. "Let's see you dodge these," exclaimed Deidara as his dragon opened its mouth and poured out nearly 100 smaller spherical bombs on top of Sasuke and the surrounding area. Sasuke would have nowhere to run in order to dodge these. "Doton, multiple earthen spires," Sasuke shouted as a number of sharp earthen spears shot from the ground around Sasuke. However, those wouldn't be enough as the bombs would just explode upon impact. With a quick motion of his hands, Sasuke wrapped the earthen spires in conductive ninja wire, and just as the bombs hit the spires, he channeled his lightning chakra into the wires, creating what was effectively a shield of electrified rods around him. Sasuke watched as the bombs exploded around him, but those that would have landed near him and the ones that would have actually damaged him were impaled on the spears and neutralized by the electricity. All Deidara saw was a beautiful piece of art in front of him, one composed of fiery explosions. "I need to knock him out of the air, and I need to keep him from flying around," thought Sasuke. "No, I can't use that jutsu yet. That jutsu's saved for Itachi. Although, I can use the setup for the jutsu to keep him from flying around. Kaden, Great Dragon Fire Jutsu, shouted Sasuke as he blew a number of dragon-shaped fireballs into the air. Deidara's eyes widened as he realized that Sasuke had not become a part of his masterpiece and now he was forced to dodge a number of fireballs aimed at him. When the smoke finally cleared, Deidara eyed Sasuke's protective net of electrified spears and the impaled duds and scowled at the smirking Uchiha. For Sasuke, it was now only a matter of time. Deidara's response to Sasuke's smirk, more guided dragon bombs, and once again Sasuke was on the defensive. However, unlike before, he was just buying time now. Sasuke summoned forth a pair of large Fuma shuriken from his sealed bracers and tossed them towards Deidara as the bomber just laughed at Sasuke's futile attack. "You're really getting on my nerves, you little bastard. I'm going to take you out with this." Deidara's ranting was cut off by a loud clap of thunder in the air. He had been so focused on trying to blow Sasuke that he failed to notice the forming storm clouds above his head until they finally decided to announce their arrival. Deidara still pushed on as a large pig dragon-shaped bomb emerged from its mouth. Sasuke gave his wrist a quick flick and the shuriken which he had thrown moments before came flying from the sky and embedded themselves in Deidara's dragon. Before Deidara could launch his bomb at Sasuke, an arcing bolt of lightning shot across the sky and struck the metal shuriken embedded in the dragon, allowing the electricity in the storm clouds to be conducted into the dragon, causing it to explode and send Deidara falling towards the ground. A quick explosion of demonic chakra in the distance momentarily caught Sasuke's attention as his Sharingan picked up a red flash beyond a nearby hill. "That's where Naruto went," thought Sasuke. "Damn, if he's had to resort to Kyuubi chakra, I've gotta finish things up quick." Sasuke turned his attention back to the sky towards Deidara. The Akatsuki bomber had given up on his dragon as it plummeted to the ground and now was hovering above the ground on a much smaller bird. However, he was also flying much lower, thanks to the storm ceiling overhead. Now Sasuke grinned as he made a strong jump into the air and struck at Deidara with his Chidori sharp spear. Because Deidara was forced between flying lower and within Sasuke's range, or finding out what getting struck by a bolt of lightning feels like, Sasuke's spear ripped through the head of the bird and aimed itself for Deidara's chest. The Akatsuki member rolled to the side to avoid the fatal blow, only for the spear to strike his left shoulder. For Deidara, thankfully that was the same arm that he had lost while fighting Gaara, meaning he still had his other arm. "Damn it. It's those damned eyes," cursed Deidara as he fell to the ground. Just like with Itachi, the very eyes in Sasuke's head drove the bomber mad. Once again, his art was falling to the Sharingan. "This can't be, I'm better than him." "Now, I'll ask again," said Sasuke as he walked towards Deidara. "Tell me about Itachi." "Damn it. I can't use my C4, thought Deidara. The storm ceiling held him to a level within the range of his C4 attack and if he hoped to survive this encounter, C4 was out of the question. He wasn't going to die here, not while he still had to prove to Itachi just how superior his art truly was. So Deidara was left with one last course of action: retreat. Deidara turned towards the forest to run, Sasuke quick in the pursuit. Reaching into his pouch, Deidara didn't feel much left as he pulled out a small amount of his clay, the remaining clay he had on him. "Damn. It's going to take some time to restock on my special clay," thought Deidara as the mouth on his hand began to knead the clay. Sasuke threw a few kunai and shuriken at Deidara in an attempt to stop the bomber from running. "Where's he going?" thought Sasuke. "Is he trying to lead me into a trap? No, that look on his face says different. He's just running, like a little scaredy cat. I can't let him get away. He might know something about Itachi." Finally, Deidara clay had finished its preparation and he threw it in front of him as it turned into a bird for him to escape on. The edge of the storm wasn't much further and if he could just get out of the storm, he could make his escape. Deidara hooked onto the bird and took to the air. Kaden, searing flame bullet. A hot bullet of flames shot at a quick speed and struck the underside of the bird and once again, Deidara plummeted to the ground. After a hard impact with the earth, Deidara struggled to his feet and growled at Sasuke. "Fine, I see how it is," said Deidara as he suddenly took a bite out of his bird. "I'll show you my ultimate work of art." Suddenly, the Akatsuki member began to swell and bulge, as if he was about to blow up himself. Sasuke's Sharingan told him that was the case. Deidara chakra was concentrating itself within him and preparing to violently burst out in a most artistic explosion. Based on the amount of chakra that had been gathered, Sasuke knew he was too close to escape the blast, so he would have to resort to protecting himself. Doton, moving earth core. said Sasuke as he slammed his hands down on the ground. Just as Deidara blew himself up and a violent explosion ripped through the nearby forest, Sasuke and the ground beneath him sunk into the earth. Sasuke watched as the explosion tore through the ground above him but then suddenly vanished as if it had been sucked into sort of vacuum. "Sasuke!" Kakashi's voice called out and Sasuke rose from his hiding spot to see his struggling and exhausted sensei. But that wasn't what caught his attention. What really got him was Kakashi's Sharingan. "Mangekyo!" gasped Sasuke. "How?" However, instead of answering Kakashi's question, Kakashi fell to his knees, panting heavily. Sasuke immediately rushed over to Kakashi's side. "Oi! Kakashi! I used the last of my chakra with that last jutsu," grunted Kakashi. "What was that? And how do you have the Mangekyo?" asked Sasuke. Kakashi remained silent for a moment. "You already know how to get the Mangekyo Sharingan, Sasuke. You have to kill." Sasuke went silent in realization. "Yes, Sasuke," said a solemn Kakashi. "But it's not something I want to talk about," Kakashi said. Sasuke already knew Kakashi had accumulated quite a few ghosts. This was obviously the one that weighed the heaviest on his shoulders. Sasuke honestly wanted the rest of the story. He wanted to know how Kakashi got the Mangekyo, but he wasn't going to push Kakashi when the man wasn't ready to talk about it. Besides, there were more pressing matters to worry about, the two most notable being the immense demonic chakra emanating from just over the nearby hill and Kakashi's condition. "Sasori?" Sasuke asked. "Dead. But I think I've been poisoned in the process," grunted Kakashi as the pain returned. "We need to go and aid Naruto." "Naruto can handle himself just a little longer," said Sasuke. "We need to make our way towards Suna and meet up with Sakura. She should be here shortly." "Are you sure?" asked Kakashi. Sasuke held up his forearm that had a new bracer and odd seal matrix on it. "Naruto redid our bracers back in Konoha. Besides the storage seals for kunai and shuriken, he added a tracking seal into them along with what appears to be one or two more things. All I have to do is channel some chakra into it and it sends out a pulse of chakra that can detect where the other seals are. If these things are right, Naruto's just over the hill there and Sakura should be here in a few minutes." "Naruto made those?" asked Kakashi. "Yeah. I know, I never would have expected him to be a seal expert," said Sasuke. "Well, if that seal he caught you in during the test was any testament to his skill, I'd say he's more than just an expert," replied Kakashi. "Yeah, don't remind me. Sakura's already pissed off enough about that," shivered Sasuke. The same chill also shot down Kakashi's back. "Anyways, she should be here right about now." Sasuke and Kakashi heard rustling in the bushes nearby, but instead of a pink-haired teenage kunoichi jumping out, an old woman in traditional Suna robes appeared, her attention immediately snapping towards Kakashi. You're the White Fang," shouted Chio as she shot a glare towards Kakashi and immediately charged towards him. As Kakashi was exhausted and injured, Sasuke moved to block Chio. Before he could knock some sense into the senile old woman, she pushed back against him, and regained her fighting stance. "Chio-sama, please stop. That's my team," shouted Sakura as she caught up with the energetic grandma. "I remember that time," growled Chio. "And my son's enemy, the White Fang of Konoha. I will get my revenge for him today." "Wait. I'm not," Kakashi tried to say. "There's no use in arguing. And you're injured as well, I see, making my job even easier," snarled Chio. "Sakura, who's the senile old hag?" asked Sasuke. "She's one of Suna's counselors. We've come here to provide assistance," said Sakura. Before Chio could launch another assault against Kakashi, Sakura stepped in between them. "Chio-sama, please. Kakashi-sensei isn't the White Fang of Konoha." Chio stopped to take a momentary look at Kakashi before she burst out in laughter. "Oh yes. I was just pretending to be senile." Everyone's sweat dropped there, including the remainder of the Suna regiment. "Kakashi-sensei, are you okay?" asked Sakura, noticing Kakashi's bloodied side. She immediately began diagnostics before Kakashi even had a chance to say anything. "Sasori. I think he poisoned me," said Kakashi as another sharp jolt of pain shot through Kakashi. "I see. 1 second, I have the antidote right here," said Sakura. "No, I think this is a very powerful poison that will require special antidote," grunted Kakashi. "I know. This is the antidote. Kankuro-san was poisoned by Sasori as well and I was able to synthesize an antidote," said Sakura as she stuck the needle in Kakashi's arm. Already, Kakashi could feel the antidote take effect as the poison in his system began to break down into harmless proteins. "I'm impressed, Sakura. You didn't take too long and Suna, did you?" asked Kakashi. "Maybe an hour or two to gather supplies and support as well as heal Kankura-san," replied Sakura. "I figured if we hurried, and you three took a few moments to rest before encountering the Akatsuki, we'd be able to provide assistance." "Well, you're a little late for that," said Sasuke. "The Akatsuki are dead." Chio's eyes widened. She had been too late to see her grandson one last time. And she was also the one who had not put an end to his suffering. "And my grandson, Sasori?" she asked. "It is as Sasuke said. The two Akatsuki who attacked your village are dead," replied Kakashi. "Besides, I don't know if you would have wanted to see him how he was." Kakashi then quickly explained his battle against Sasori to Chio. "I see," said Chio solemnly. "Why did you have to fall so far, Sasori? Where's Gaara? Is he okay?" asked Temari and Mitsuri. A massive tremor shook the land and a bright flash was emitted from just over the hill. "Naruto and Gaara went that way," said Sasuke. "I felt a massive burst of chakra from that direction just a little bit ago." "You felt it too, huh?" asked Kakashi. "I hope Gaara's seal didn't break before Naruto could take a look at it." "Yeah, we should probably get going then," said Sasuke as all of the Konoha and Suna shinobi took off to find Naruto and Gaara. A little ways away, Deidara burst through the ground, unhappy with the results of everything that had just happened. "Damn it. I can't believe that bastard even beat my exploding clone. Though it did create enough of a diversion to get away, I still can't believe it. It's those fucking eyes. I can't stand them." Deidara looked off into the distance where another massive explosion ripped through the forest and a tremor shook the earth. Looks like someone's making beautiful art over there," thought Deidara. "TSK, if only I had more clay, I could show those amateurs what true art is." Deidara turned to walk away. It was a long day and he was desperately in need of a new arm and more clay if he. "So my man, Sasori's gone. I guess it appears as if art isn't everlasting." Continuing at a brisk, Kyuubi-enhanced pace, Naruto finally came to a stop. He had sensed the Akatsuki member chase after him stop a ways back, but kept on going to ensure that he wasn't going to get caught while checking on Gaara's seal. Setting Gaara down on the ground, he proceeded to remove the shirt on his friend, looking for the seal. It didn't take long for Naruto to find it, or at least the fragments of a seal. "Damn, this seal's in terrible shape," said Naruto to himself. And that's before Akatsuki tried to extract the bijou. The blonde seal master took another quick glance at Gaara's seal. "Whoever made this, don't they even know how to seal a bijou? I mean, yeah, it has the minimum 4 elements required to seal a demon, but there's no safety measures, no counter seals, no wool suppressors. All it was doing was keeping the Ichibi in. No wonder Gaara had a tough time keeping the Ichibi's influence restrained. He was doing it all on his own without the aid of his seal. Whoever put him through that hell, I'm going to kick their ass afterwards. We need to hurry. I can feel Shukaku's chakra already acting up," warned Kurama. "What? Damn it. I need time to prepare a seal for that," replied Naruto. To Naruto's horror, the ground beneath him began twisting and turning as the very earth itself was being converted into sand and swirling towards Gaara. The blonde Uzumaki was forced away from his friend as the sand wrapped around Gaara and his brethren Jinchuriki began to rise into the air before being engulfed in the sand entirely. The sand began to take on a more tanuki-like appearance before it finally stopped morphing and the final form of the Ichibi now stood well above Naruto. "Yahaha! I'm finally free of that accursed seal," shouted Shukaku. "After all these years that brat kept me at bay, I can finally stretch my legs and kill something again." Shukaku's attention was diverted downward to where Naruto was standing. "Well, if it ain't the little runt responsible for my vessel's sudden change of heart all those years ago. Because of you, that little brat stopped killing for me." "You shut up, you damn tanuki. You have no right to talk. Because of you, Gaara's suffered all his life. Because of you, everyone turned away from him. Hell, you could have helped him but no, you had to turn his life into a total hell," retorted Naruto back at the giant one-tailed demon. "For that, I won't forgive you. Now give Gaara back now." "Ha," laughed Shukaku. "I've never heard anything so ridiculous in all my life. And I can feel the chakra of the Kyuubi inside you. Oh yeah, I'm going to enjoy killing you." With a massive sandy foot, Shukaku slammed down upon Naruto. However, The blonde was quick enough with Kurama's help to move out of the way. "Naruto, make some clones and let me take over," said Kurama. "There are a few things I've been wanting to say to my brother. But I've gotta save Gaara." "I know that. But you're not going to be able to with the seal in its current state," said Kurama. "That seal's in complete shambles. No matter how much Gaara resists now, there's no way he'll be able to stave off that psychopath's murderous will. Even if by some chance Gaara manages to regain control, he'll be even more unstable than when you first met him. The only way you can save your friend is to reseal the Shukaku, and preferably in something much more stable than what that damned Tanuki was sealed in before. You said you need time to make up the seal, right? Then let me deal with my brother while you make up the seal." "I see. Just promise me you won't hurt Gaara," asked Naruto. "Believe me, nothing I've tried before has managed to get through the thick head of the Ichibi. Gaara will be fine if you get that seal made up, I promise you that." "I make no promises about Shukaku though," grinned Kurama. It was finally time for him to get some real action. Naruto consented and proceeded to make half a dozen clones to work on the seal, with one more remaining to give Kurama any aid, if he would need it, that is. Shukaku moved in to kill Naruto, but was tossed back as a massive burst of chakra erupted from Naruto. Shukaku could only help but growl as his brother had replaced the blonde brat he so desperately wanted to kill. "Hey, it's been," grinned the giant fox, now towering above the forests. "You. Why the hell are you here?" shouted Shukaku. "You're almost as stupid as you are insane," insulted Kurama. "The kid's obviously my Jinchuriki, and unlike you, I don't need to pretend to be someone's mother, slowly driving them crazy over the years, to get a little fresh air every now and then." Yeah, now why don't you go back to your foxhole and leave that blonde brat of yours to play with the big dog, waved Shukaku. "Oh sure, so you're the big dog now? Last I checked, you only had one tail. There you go again. Always thinking you're the strongest out of us. Just because you have 9 tails doesn't make you the strongest," declared Shukaku. "Yeah, it kind of does," replied Kurama. "You know, that's one of the many things I absolutely can't stand about you." "Fine, I'll show you just how superior you really are, Foxy," asserted Shukaku. "PFT, please, I've beaten you a number of times. I doubt one more will beat some sense through that sandy head of yours, but if you insist, I've got some time before the kid seals you away," taunted Kurama. "No. I won't go back," declared the enraged Shukaku. "Oh yeah, I've been waiting for this," grinned Kurama. Running into the forests for protection, 6 Naruto clones finally came to a halt as they had put a good enough distance between them and the 2 fighting Bijou. A massive tremor ripped through the landscape and a shockwave nearly tore the trees from their roots, the result of 2 Bijudama colliding with one another. One of the clones set down the large scroll that was given to them by the original in order to place the sealing formula on for the seal that would once again reseal Shukaku within Gaara. While Naruto didn't particularly like the thought of sealing that maniacal Tanuki back in one he thought of as a brother, Gaara had been taken over by the Ichibi, a result of a destroyed seal from an attempted extraction of the Bijou. And now the only way Naruto could save the current Kazekage was to reseal Shukaku. "Right, so which seal do you think we should use?" asked one of the Narutos as they began discussing amongst themselves what would be the best way to seal up the Ichibi. "How about one we know works?" said another clone, pointing at his own stomach. "That actually could work," said another clone. "But wait," questioned a different clone. "Doesn't that seal result in the Shinigami consuming your soul?" "No, that's the dead demon consuming seal," said the clone that suggested the seal in the first place. "I'm talking about the 8 trigram seal. Dad used the dead demon consuming seal to weaken Kurama by sealing part of him within the Shinigami so that he could then use the 8 trigram seal to seal Kurama within us." "Okay, but still. If we use the 8 trigram seal, that would still allow for Shukaku to converse with Gaara. I thought we wanted to keep Shukaku away from Gaara," said another concerned clone. "Gaara will be in control. We can't completely separate the two, but we can give Gaara a seal that will give him much more protection and control over the Ichibi's chakra," said the first clone. "And besides, Gaara and Shukaku are eventually going to need to learn to work together. As much as Kurama would hate to admit it, we'll need the Ichibi's help if we want to defeat Akatsuki for good." "Right, let's get to work on this," agreed the other clones as another chaotic clash erupted in the distance. Both Kurama and Shukaku charged up by Judamas before firing them at one another. The 2 chakra spheres collided with one another, unleashing their immense energy upon the surrounding landscape, leaving a crater where the two balls collided. Shukaku whipped up a wave of sand and sent it towards Kurama. Responding to the sand wave, Kurama exhaled a scorching hot foxfire, engulfing the sand and halting the wave. The flames died away quickly, revealing a large wall of glass between the two bijou. Kurama dashed towards his brother, intent on simply smashing the glass wall aside with a swipe of his claw. However, Shukaku had other plans as he fired off a succession of futon, drilling air bullets at Kurama. The first bullet shattered the glass wall like nothing while the second one propelled the glass shrapnel towards Kurama. Kurama skidded to a halt as he whipped his tails around like a fan, sending a powerful gust to clash with Shukaku's air glass bullet. The two jutsus met, but Kurama's had much more power behind it, sending the glass flying in all directions in front of him. "Hey, that little puff of yours isn't going to be enough to stop me," taunted Kurama. Enraged by Kurama's taunts, Shukaku quickly charged up a Baijudama before firing it at Kurama. The giant fox ducked underneath the ball of chakra, an explosion erupting behind him and sending another quake through the already damaged landscape. Shukaku had already dashed towards Kurama and lashed out at the nine-tailed bijou with his tail. Kurama jumped to the side but not before grabbing Shukaku's tail in his jaw. Shukaku let out a scream as Kurama's teeth dug into the sandy tail and Kurama quickly planted his feet firmly in the ground before tossing Shukaku into the nearby lake, which really wasn't much bigger than a puddle for a child comparatively. With a shriek that would put a little girl to shame, Shukaku leapt out of the water as he attempted to dry that wet and sandy posterior of his. "Aw, did I get you wet?" mocked Kurama. "Geez, and I thought Tobi was always fussy after getting wet. You know, now that I really think about it, you're not so much a raccoon dog, but a raccoon cat." Shukaku sent a glare towards Kurama, one that only the Shinigami's mother could love. Oh, that had definitely crossed the line. No way was he going to stand there and be called a mangy feline. "Oh yeah? Let's see how much you fuss when I start ripping those precious tails of yours off one by one." Meow? Kurama's cat calling only served to enrage Shukaku more as the one-tailed tanuki growled at his foxy brother. "Well, let's see if you don't turn tail and run like a little scaredy cat after this," shouted Shukaku as he slammed his tail on the ground. Instantly, massive waves of sand rose up all around the two bijou, towering even far above Kurama's head as they threatened to crash down upon the kitsune, burying him underneath tons of sand. There was no way Kurama was going to run from this. There was no way he'd give Shukaku the satisfaction. And besides, he wasn't the most powerful bijou for nothing. The Kyubi no Yoko stood his ground as his chakra gathered. A bright reddish-white energy began to envelop him, the result of him gathering an extraordinary amount of fire-nature chakra, empowered by his own wind nature. "So you want to play? Fine. I'll show you why I'm the strongest," grinned Kurama. Inferno Pulse. The energy covering Kurama's body immediately pulsated outward, unleashing a brilliant golden flame, quickly spreading throughout the area contained within Shukaku's sand waves. To anyone looking straight at it, all they could see was a blinding flash of light that would have burnt the eyes off anyone looking straight at it. When the light subsided, everything that had been within Shukaku's sand waves was petrified into either some sort of charred stone or glass. The sand that had contained the blast was now a brilliant dome of glass that began to crack and shatter, unable to support its own weight. Looking ahead of him, Kurama eyed Shukaku, now entrapped in a thick cocoon of glass. Kurama knew the attack wouldn't kill the Ichibi as he didn't gather nearly enough energy for it to kill another bijou, but it had turned the outer layers of Shukaku's sand into glass. Even from here, he could tell his brother was struggling desperately to get free of the glass prison as a few cracks began to propagate. "Okay, your clones can finish their part any time now. I've had more than enough fun for now," grinned Kurama. "What was that?" gasped Naruto. "And why didn't you tell me you could do something like that?" I've still gotta have a few tricks up my sleeve now, don't I?" "Okay, it's done," said one of the Naruto clones working on the new seal for Gaara. "Let's get it to boss then. Kurama should be done pretty soon," said one of the clones. The clones looked up to see a massive dome of sand rose up around where Kurama and Shukaku were fighting. But when a bright flash erupted from inside the dome, turning all of the sand into glass, the clones were left staring. They were all thinking the same thing. What other cool abilities was Kurama hiding from them? "I think that would have done it," said a clone, getting nods out of the rest as they rolled up the sealing scroll and took off towards the bijou battle. As Kakashi, Sakura, Sasuke, and the shinobi from Suna were racing towards the battleground, a bright flash erupted just beyond the nearest hill. "What's going on over there?" asked a worried Temari. "Well, if I had to take a guess, I'd say a battle of that scale would only be fought between two powerful entities, or in other words, Bijou," said Kakashi. "So Naruto's over there?" asked Sakura. "Yeah. I sent him away with Gaara because of concerns over Akatsuki's extraction process weakening the seal on Gaara and the Shukaku escaping," said Kakashi. "I've heard the name Naruto," said Chio. "You expect a child to be able to fix a Jinchuriki's seal? Please, don't make me laugh. Fuinjutsu is a delicate art that takes decades to master. There's no way a child could even hope to understand the workings of a demon containment seal." "Normally, I would agree with you on that, Chio-san. But you see, Naruto's different," said Kakashi. "You see, when it comes to Fuinjutsu, Naruto's probably the best our village has. Even Jiraiya-sama claims Naruto's mastery over sealing has surpassed his." "Impossible. There was only one clan who could have possessed that level of skill, and they're all," retorted Chio. "Gone?" finished Kakashi before letting out a chuckle. "You said you knew Naruto's name. Well, then you would know he bears the name of that clan as well. And I assure you, the Uzumaki blood flows strongly through Naruto's veins." Kakashi's and everyone else's attention returned to the path ahead of them, Chio falling momentarily behind. "So that clan still lives? Hey, I figured those fools Iniwa, Kumo, and Kiri would never be able to truly eliminate them. That's what you get for depending on the aid of other villages." The clones arrived at the decimated battlefield to see Shukaku pinned to the earth by Kurama. "You having fun there, Kurama?" called one of the clones. "Hey, I'll admit it was fun to see my brother again, or at least put him in his place," grinned Kurama. "You got the seal ready?" Naruto patted the scroll on his back and Shukaku began to struggle violently against Kurama's restraints. "I will not go back," shouted Shukaku as he managed to get off a bullet of wind, aimed at the clones, before Kurama slammed his paw into the back of Shukaku's head, driving the Tanuki's face into the scorched earth. Still, the wind bullet managed to hit the clones, dispelling them and causing the scroll to fly off across the petrified landscape. "Wow, your clones really are squishy," thought Kurama. "Damn it. Now I'm going to have to do the sealing myself," swore Naruto. "And that means returning to your normal fun and probably letting the Shukaku up," said Kurama. "Yeah, and the clone I left behind to assist you didn't last long either," said Naruto. "You know, if you could find a way to temporarily separate us, then that will allow me to fight and you to assist. Not to mention, you won't go squish as easily," chuckled Kurama. "Yeah. Perhaps you are right there. But we'll worry about that later," said Naruto. "I've got an idea on how to keep Shukaku down while I seal him." "Do I think you're going to do what I think you're going to do?" asked Kurama. Naruto nodded and Kurama let out a little laugh. "Hee hee. Go for it. I can't wait to see it." Giving control back to Naruto, the full Kyuubi mode form quickly receded to leave just Naruto standing atop Shukaku. As soon as Shukaku felt the weight lessen, he quickly picked himself up and threw Naruto off of him. "Ha! You really thought you could seal me away, brat?" shouted Shukaku. Naruto said, pointing upwards. "Summoning, food cart destroyer technique." Shukaku looked up just in time to see a couple hundred tons of purple toad crash down on top of him. "Think you can hold him for just a little, Gameken?" called out Naruto. "I will try, but as you know I am rather clumsy," said Gameken. Kurama was getting a good laugh at Shukaku being pinned underneath a massive toad and Naruto darted off in the direction in which the scroll went flying, finding it a couple hundred meters from where Shukaku shot it away from the clones. Naruto turned around to see his team and a number of Suna ninja heading towards you. Looking up, Kakashi noticed a giant toad on top of a sandy tanuki. "You weren't able to make it in time, were you?" asked Kakashi. "I had just gotten away from that bomber bastard and started checking the seal. Before I could even begin to repair it, Shukaku came out to play. Kurama beat him pretty bad, but I need to get this new seal on Gaara to stop the Ichibi and save Gaara," said Naruto. "Well, let's not hold you any longer," said Kakashi. "Be careful, everyone." As Naruto approached Shukaku, the Tanuki managed to throw Gameken off of him. "I am sorry, Naruto-san, but I am quite clumsy." "No, you did good, Gameken," said Naruto before dismissing the giant toad. "Sasuke." "Right," nodded Sasuke. "Kaden, majestic fire annihilation." "Futon, hurricane's wrath." The two high-power jutsus combined with one another, engulfing Shukaku in a massive inferno of flames. For the second time today, the Ichibi found himself encased in a glassy prison. Naruto quickly followed up, wanting to seal the Ichibi before the Tanuki escaped his prison, by unfurling the scroll in front of him and going through the Uzumaki hand seals associated with the clan's sealing arts. Secret Uzumaki Fuin Jutsu, 8 trigrams demonic sealing technique. Naruto slammed his hand onto the scroll and the seal shot outwards towards the encased Ichibi. Just as Shukaku broke free of his glass cocoon, he found himself bound by powerful chains of sealing kanji. "No! You won't go back," shouted Shukaku as he struggled helplessly against the seal. He then looked down towards Naruto. "You just wait, bastard. When I get out, I'm going to kill you and everyone you know." When talking to the person who held your fate in their hands, that was probably the last thing anyone would say. "Yeah, well, good luck getting out of this anytime soon, you sandy bastard." Seal. Making the final hand seal, the seal went to work sucking Shukaku back into his Jinchuriki. As the sand of Shukaku fell away, Naruto finally got a glimpse of Gaara, lying atop a mound of sand. "Gaara!" shouted Naruto and Temari as they both rushed to the Kazekage's side. Everyone else quickly followed, with Chio just staring in awe. Sakura pushed her way through to Gaara and ran a quick diagnostic on the young Kazekage. "He's alive and stable," said Sakura. She then looked down at Gaara's navel, where the coat he was wearing had been burned away, revealing the bare skin there and the glowing seal now present there. "That looks just like..." "Yeah. I used the same seal I have on Gaara. That should allow him to isolate his mind from Shukaku's conscious while giving him access to the Ichibi's chakra," said Naruto. Chio stepped forward and one look at the seal told her everything. "This seal, so your captain was right. From someone so young, this truly is a marvel to my old eyes." "Huh? Who are you, Granny?" asked Naruto, before Sakura quickly shoved his head downwards in an apologetic manner. "This is Chio-sama, one of Suna's honored elders," said Sakura. "It's all right, Sakura," replied Chio. "I am actually the one who sealed the Ichibi and Gaara in the first place." That was probably the worst thing she could have said at that moment, as a killing intent to deafen the entire area. "You are the one who put that seal on Gaara?" growled Naruto. "Do you even realize what you did? That thing you call a seal was a piece of crap. It's a miracle Gaara was even able to hold off the Ichibi's influence up until now." Naruto shot Chio a glare with red eyes that shook her to her very core. "You're the reason he's suffered so long. You're the reason." "Naruto," said Kakashi as he grabbed Naruto's arm. Looking over at Chio, she was honestly shivering at the key Naruto directed towards her. Even the elder shinobi, who had experienced a number of wars in her days, had never felt something of that magnitude. Don't blame her. Suna never really was known for their expertise in sealing. I'm sure Chio-sama did everything she could with the available tools. When dealing with sealing the Shukaku, Suna actually used to consult the very clan you appear to come from. However, when the Yondaime Kazekage decided to seal the Ichibi within Gaara, well, you're probably aware of what caused the outbreak of the Second Shinobi War, said Chio. It's true that Gaara's seal wasn't the best for sealing a bijou, but your captain's right, that's all I had to work with at the time. You could have at least called Konoha and had Jirai oversee the sealing, said Naruto. I would personally prefer not to rely on another village, said Chio. Relying on silly alliances is what got Suna into the mess it is now. A village needs to know how to stand on its own feet. Believe it or not, she's right, Naruto, said Kakashi, sensing Naruto's temper rising. Still, I've just got this gut feeling that if we don't all come together sooner or later, then we're all going to be in trouble, said Naruto. Anyways, I need to check Gaara's seal. Naruto placed his hands over Gaara's new seal and channeled some chakra into it. Closing his eyes, Naruto's consciousness entered Gaara's seal. Gaara's seal. Believe it or not, Gaara's seal actually was kind of what one would expect. Naruto found himself staring forward into a hall leading into a giant pyramid in the middle of the desert. Shall we go and see my brother? Naruto looked down to find that he was actually standing on top of Kurama's head. Kurama? What are you doing here? Asked Naruto. This isn't like what happened back in the Chunin exams, is it? No. When you entered Gaara's seal, I channeled some of my chakra as well to join you. There's something I am waiting to happen and now's probably the best time for it to happen, said Kurama. The two began their trek into the pyramid and down the long winding hallway. In a large room, A blood-red-haired young man with a tattoo for love on his forehead stood facing a rather large gate with a seal keeping the gate shut. "Where am I?" asked Gaara as he looked around at the unfamiliar surroundings. He then heard a noise coming from within the gate. "Who's there?" "Please child, let mother out of here," pleaded the voice from inside the gate. "Please get me out of here. You need me and I need you. Without me, you'll be all alone. You can stop calling yourself mother, Shukaku. It's rather insulting," said Gaara. The chamber became a bit brighter, revealing the Ichibi stuck behind the bars and within the cage. "That still doesn't change the fact that you need me," said Shukaku. "Besides, I need you. I'm the only one who has ever needed you." "You're wrong about that," rebutted Gaara. "Oh, you think those silly insects who made you Kazekage truly need you?" said Shukaku. Sarcastically. "No." A sandy fist slammed into the gates, but failed to even cause them to shudder. "They only made you Kazekage because they fear you. They feared that you would destroy them all, so they submitted to you. It is because of me that you're Kazekage." "You're wrong," shouted a voice from down the corridor. Gaara and Shukaku looked that direction to see a large reddish-orange fox with a blonde riding atop its head. Shukaku let out a venomous hiss as Naruto jumped down to Gaara's side. "You! Come here! I'll fucking kill you!" shouted Shukaku. In response, Kurama let out a frightful roar, causing even Shukaku to flinch slightly. "Gaara didn't become Kazekage because of you. He became Kakazekage because he's exactly what you're not," argued Naruto to the one-tailed Bijou. "Gaara, everyone who counts on you, the entire village of Suna, is either waiting for you to wake up, or is worried sick back in Suna for their Kazekage to return to them safely." "Uzumaki Naruto," spoke Gaara. "I take it this seal is your doing?" "It is. It's much stronger than your previous one and will stop Sandy over here from troubling you," said Naruto. "Hell, now you'll finally be able to get a good night's sleep without worrying about him." "Sleep," gasped Gaara, completely unfamiliar with the concept. "Naruto, thank you." "Don't mention it, buddy," grinned Naruto. "Now come on, everyone's waiting for you outside. Don't you dare leave me here. I'll find a way out of this infernal contraption and when I do, I'll kill everyone," cursed Shukaku. "Good luck. The only way to release the seal is with the key and trust me, I have no intentions of putting Gaara through that anytime soon," said Naruto as he reminisced the feeling of having a toad shoved down his throat. Kurama got a little laugh out of Naruto's expression. "What do you mean?" asked Gaara. "Trust me, I'm doing you a favor," said Naruto. "I'll give you the key when you're absolutely sure you're ready. Until then, you won't have to worry about Sandy." Shukaku growled at the blonde before finally deciding to charge up a Baijudama. The Ichibi fired off a sphere of chakra, which exploded upon impacting the gates. When the dust cleared, the gates held firm and nothing had happened except for the Shukaku's temper rising to the point where he might just cook himself into glass. "Why do you have to be so hostile, Shukaku?" "What? Who said that? I don't remember anyone else being in here," said Naruto as he frantically looked around for the source of the voice. "So it appears as if I was correct," said Kurama as a smile crept upon his foxy face. "It's been a while, old man." Shukaku's eyes widened as he eyed the man walking towards everyone. Everyone else's attention turned to see a man wearing a long haori with light spiky hair, which strongly resembled horns, and wielding a shakujo. However, the most striking features of the man were his eyes. His eyes appeared to be composed of numerous concentric purple rings. Father?" gasped Shukaku. It honestly didn't take Naruto to piece the pieces together on just who this man was. Given everything that Kurama had told him, Naruto had already realized that this man was in fact the Rikudo Sennin, or at least the manifestation of the Sennin's chakra from within Shukaku. Still, Naruto couldn't help but stare in awe at the man in front of him. This was the founding father of ninjutsu himself, and Naruto had missed his chance to meet him the last time around. "Hello, Shukaku," greeted the sage before turning to Kurama, Naruto, and Gaara, both of the Jinchuriki not able to believe what was actually happening. "And hello Kurama, young ones. I take it you have already met with the chakra I left you, Kurama?" Kurama nodded. The sage turned his attention back to the reason he was here, to quell Shukaku's bloodthirst and hatred. "Now what seems to be troubling you, my child?" said the sage as he calmly walked through the bars of the cage. In front of the sage, Shukaku playfully rolled over, revealing his bare belly, and as the sage gave Shukaku a scratch on his belly, the Ichibi's leg began to twitch playfully. Both Naruto and Gaara could only stare in shock as Shukaku had been reduced to a mere puppy in front of them and Kurama simply sweat dropped. "I can feel that you've been troubled all these years, Shukaku, but mindless killing is by no means the way to go about your life," said the sage. "I brought you and your siblings into this world to find your own peace and to help maintain the peace of the world. However, I fear as if hatred is beginning to consume the hearts of every living being on this planet. It was that hatred that blinded you and drove you down the path you have been following. However, I feel as if it is time you looked at taking a new path. Perhaps by journeying down a different path will you find true peace and at the same time, help restore balance to this increasingly volatile world." "But father, all this time, all I've known is killing. What am I supposed to do?" asked Shukaku. "Remember what I said? I said to you and your siblings to follow a righteous path," said the sage. "Find something to live for in this world besides mindless killing and hatred. Turn your back to the darkness and walk towards the light. And besides, I'm sure there are a few people who would be more than glad to help you." The sage pointed his shakujo towards Naruto and Gaara, both of which smiled and nodded. If it meant stripping the Ichibi of his hatred to gain a powerful ally and potential friend, they would help. Kurama merely sighed in defeat. "Think about what I have said, Shukaku, and what you can do to begin anew. Unfortunately, my time is running short and the chakra I sealed within you is nearly out." "I will, father." "Thank you," replied Shukaku. "Old man, wait up one moment," spoke Kurama. "Yes, Kurama?" answered the sage. "The Ghetto Mazo is back," said Kurama in an ominous tone. The sage's peaceful expression was quickly removed from his face and replaced with a more serious one. "The Ghetto Mazo? You mean that statue thingy?" asked Naruto. Kurama nodded. "What's so bad about?" "The Ghetto Mazo is the body of the Jubi that I sealed away within the moon 1,000 years ago," said the sage. "If the chakras of all 9 of my children, the Bijou, were ever returned to that statue, the Jubi would return to this world and hatred would truly consume it once again." "Yeah, and Sandy over there nearly got himself sealed within that abomination," stated Kurama. Shukaku actually felt ashamed that had it not have been for Kurama, he would be stuck inside that statue. Unfortunately, this was the time when the sage began to fade from existence as his chakra was running short. "You will need to gather the remainder of your siblings," said the sage. "And preferably sooner rather than later. Your 9 chakras cannot be allowed to reunite within that statue, or I fear what will become of this world. If you ever need to speak to me, you know where to find me." By then, the sage's chakra had completely vanished. 2 of the 9 ways to speak to the Rikudo Sennin were now exhausted. "So what do we do about Sandy?" asked Naruto as they faced the Ichibi's cage. Already, they could tell that Shukaku's thoughts had changed and he was now in conflict with himself. "Go," spoke Shukaku. "I must think about what father said." In the real world. After a few minutes of focusing on Gaara's seal, Naruto finally woke up from his little trance, still trying to sort out everything that had happened within the seal. Finally, much to everyone's anticipation, Gaara's eyes began to open. "Welcome back, Gaara. You sure have caused us a great deal of trouble," smiled Naruto as Gaara gazed around at everyone surrounding him. "Tell me about it," said a voice that sounded like Kankuro. Walking towards them was Kankuro along with another large group of Suna ninja. "Just like a little brother, causing me all kinds of worries." "Whack. You're not supposed to be moving for a few more days," shouted Sakura. "What do you think you're doing out of the hospital?" "No one hits my brothers," shouted Tamari, defending her brother before whacking him upside the head with her fan. "Except me. And she's right, you should still be in the hospital." "Troublesome," thought Naruto. Some hill in Konoha. A certain Nara with a pineapple-like ponytail couldn't resist the urge to sneeze. "Man, why do I get the feeling someone I know is causing trouble somewhere," thought Shikamaru. "Troublesome." The lazy Nara then proceeded to lie back down against the hillside and watch clouds. Back with Gaara. "What's up with you two anyways?" "Gaara's the Kazekage, remember," stated Tamari. "I'm so relieved Gaara-sama's going to be alright," said one of the Suna ninja, breathing a sigh of relief. "Oh please, like anything bad would happen to Gaara-sama," shouted Matsuri, thumping the Suna shinobi on the back of the head. "Gaara-sama's silent and cool, and strong, and attractive, and elite." "So true, but there's still something about him that's just cute," exclaimed another girl by the name of Yukata. "And after all, he is the Kazekage." Immediately, the two girls dashed towards their idol, knocking poor Naruto out of the way and onto the ground. TSK, fangirls, tissed Sasuke as he sat down beside Naruto. Tell me about it, replied Naruto. Sasuke immediately sent a questioning look to his blonde teammate. Since when did you know the horrors of fangirls? Ever since I saved the land of snow from a tyrannical ruler, replied Naruto. Ah. Yeah, I heard about that, said Sasuke. Girls will pretty much always act like that, falling for the elite and cool guys, said Kankuro, joining the guys. Yeah, I remember Shikamaru saying something like that, said Naruto. And besides, none of them compare to Hinata-chan. Anyways, thank you, Naruto. And to you and your sensei as well, Uchiha Sasuke, said Kankuro. Don't mention it. There was no way I was going to let Gaara die to those creeps anyways, said Naruto. Oh, and I fixed his seal. He should be able to keep the Ichibi under control now and also get some real sleep. You really are something, Uzumaki Naruto, said Chio as she came over to Naruto. I honestly never expected someone from another village to go to such lengths to save another cage. Perhaps you are different after all. After a few more minutes of rest and Tamari trying to fend off the two fangirls, the group was finally ready to return to Suna. Can I get a hand? Chuckled Kakashi, finding himself unable to move from his position on the ground he had taken up. That new Sharingan really takes a lot out of me. Great, thought Sakura. Looks like we probably won't be leaving Suna for a few days until you can regain enough chakra to make the trip back, Kakashi-sensei. That's okay, said Naruto. Besides, I think Suna actually has a ramen stand in my ramen passport book, D.by.O. Some things never change, sighed Sasuke. Huh? Chiobakan? Said Naruto, looking over at the collapsed and unconscious woman sitting on the ground near them. The blonde went over and gave her a slight tap on the shoulder. Nothing. Hey Sakura-chan, is something wrong with Chiobakan? What? Her pulse is gone, gasped Sakura. Had Chio really just died on them there? She's dead. But how? Wah! Shouted Chio as she leapt up in front of Naruto and Sakura, scaring the two Chunin nearly to death. The old lady let out a laugh. Wahaha! Over the years, I learned how to slow my heart rate to a snail's pace. You have no idea how many times I've done that to people, ha ha ha. Everyone just faulted at senile old woman's antics. Naruto and Sasuke helped Kakashi to his feet and began carrying their sensei back to Suna for some much-needed rest. You know, just be glad Guy isn't here, said Kakashi. Most likely, he would have thrown me on his back and piggybacked me all the way back to Konoha. Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke shuddered at the image Kakashi had just put in their heads. So this is the real Sasori, thought Zetsu. Behind Zetsu, another cloaked wearing an orange spiral mask was digging through the rubble before pulling a ring out of the rubble. I found it. I found it, Zetsu-san. Cheered the other person. So do you think I'll be able to become a member of Akatsuki now? After all, there is an open spot. You moron, you don't really think you can join so easily, do you? Retorted Zetsu. Oh come on, we can let him in, said Zetsu. After all, Tobi is a good boy. And with that, Tobi dropped the ring down a deep crevice in the rubble. The Kazekage's company was greeted with massive cheer as they approached the gates of Suna. Right away, Sakura directed her team, and Kankuro to the hospital. We'll probably be here for the rest of the week while Kakashi-sensei rests, Sakura. I'll send a report to Tsunade and let her know when to expect us back. But besides that, I know I could use a little break. Within minutes, Naruto found himself at Suna's premier ramen stand, anxiously waiting on a bowl of Suna's dessert heat ramen. Upon receiving the bowl, Naruto's nose was bombarded by the scent of various spices. One thing that really caught Naruto's attention about the ramen was that instead of using beef, chicken, or shrimp as the meat in the dish, the ramen contained diced lamb meat, something Naruto was unfamiliar with. Taking one slurp of the ramen, Naruto was in heaven. So good, and so. It was now that the spices were beginning to work their magic on Naruto's mouth. Hot. 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 Currently, Naruto found himself sitting on top of one of the cliffs surrounding Suna, a few things on his mind that he was actively discussing with Kurama. Hey Kurama, I had a thought, said Naruto. I've been thinking and it feels like the best path to go is to find a way to temporarily separate us. That way, you can fight with your own abilities and I can assist you with my Senjutsu and Fuinjutsu. I've been thinking about that as well. While I would say that I could normally handle anything we would encounter myself, I realized that when trying to seal Shukaku that it would have actually been better if you could act separate to me, without having to resort to using a shadow clone that just went squish, said Kurama, laughing at the last part. I was actually thinking of using a shadow clone, but what if I used your chakra to make it instead of mine? Asked Naruto. That could work to an extent. My chakra would definitely be more durable than a normal shadow clone. But realize that we're not making a shadow clone. A shadow clone is a copy of you, however we're looking for a way to bring me out on a separate entity from yourself. And besides, a shadow clone has similar chakra as the original. You may be able to have your clones use separate elements, but that doesn't mean they can handle two completely different types of chakra, said Kurama. A shadow clones is a start, but I think if we were to go along that route, we'd need to create a completely new type of clone jutsu. Yeah, I think I get it, said Naruto. And I also need to find a place where I can train using your chakra before we can get started on this new jutsu. I don't think the village will take too well to me using Bijou chakra within its walls, or you suddenly appearing out of nowhere when we do manage to get it right. Perhaps the pervert knows a place where we could use, replied Kurama. Yeah, said Naruto as something else, something much larger began to weigh on his thoughts. Hey Kurama, my dad was the one who sealed you, right? Yeah. Why ask a silly question? Retorted Kurama. It's the seal he used, the 8 trigrams demonic containment seal. It's the one he used on me and the one I used on Gaara. But the question I have, is how did he use it? Asked Naruto. I don't think I quite get where you're going, replied Kurama. The 8 trigrams demonic containment seal is an Uzumaki developed seal, said Naruto. But that's just it. It's an Uzumaki seal. I found it in the secret scroll that showed the Uzumaki clan's demonic sealing arts. My dad shouldn't have been able to use that seal, but I've looked it over extensively and it's the same exact seal he used on me. Only someone with Uzumaki blood could have used that seal, but my dad's not an Uzumaki. Are you absolutely sure about that? Asked Kurama. Yeah. I asked Hirasanin and according to the village's records, my dad's not related to the clan, said Naruto. But the only way to use that seal is to have Uzumaki blood in your veins, said Kurama. You know what I think? I think there's still much about your dad's side of your lineage we still don't know. I've asked Kakashi and Uro-sanin what they knew about my dad's family, but even they didn't know much, just that the Namikaze family has been with Konoha since the beginning and my dad was orphaned at a young age as a result of the war at the time, said Naruto. The only one I can think of who could give you the answers are the Yondaime, your father, himself. However, you never asked him that when you met him, said Kurama. I know mom and dad left me a few things before they died. Perhaps my dad has something that explains more, said Naruto. And while we're on that note, what about your mother's notebook? Asked Kurama. Sorry. I asked Bakken, but she said that everything my parents left me was sealed within numerous storage scrolls and I can't get them until I turn 16. It's less than 4 months away. Can you wait? Asked Naruto. Kurama grumbled a bit, but figured that village politics would most likely get in the way. Still, that didn't stop him from saying a few choice words about the village's inheritance policies. I know. And I promise, the moment I get my hands on that book, I'll begin my search for her, said Naruto. By the time Team 7 was ready to depart Suna, Kakashi had recovered to the point where he could travel at a decent pace back to Konoha. He still wouldn't be going on active duty for some time, but at the very least the nightmares Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke have been having recently of Kakashi and Guy playing piggyback wouldn't be coming true anytime soon. We'll be seeing you then, said Kankuro. It sucks that we had to cancel these Chunin exams, otherwise I'd be saying to stop by and see some of the action if you get a chance. Yeah, said Naruto. Normally, I guess this is where you're supposed to shake hands and leave, but I'm not very good with that kind of thing. Naruto was cut off by Gaara offering his hand for Naruto to shake. A warm smile came to everyone's face and some of Gaara's sand slowly began to move Naruto's hand towards Gaara as the two brothers shook hands. Uzumaki Naruto. Thank you, for everything, said Gaara. Yeah, thank you for everything, Naruto, said Temari. Hey, because of that new seal, we actually had to wake Gaara up or else he'd miss your departure, said Kankuro. Who knew Gaara even knew how to sleep that much? Senpai. Deidara senpai. The one-armed Akatsuki sighed as he heard the childish voice of Tobi approach. What happened to the Jinchuriki? Asked Bizetsu. TSK. Deidara shrugged. Leader Sama's not going to be happy. So both the Ichibi and Kyuubi got away? Shame, said Zetsu. Anyways, Leader Sama has requested you return to the main base. We will recoup and reassign tasks. The death of Sasori will surely be felt through the organization, said Zetsu. Konan has gone on ahead to capture the Gobi. We will begin the sealing once she returns. So the rumors out of Iwa about the Kyuubi brat killing old Han weren't true, said Deidara. It appears as if the Gobi used that encounter to fake his own death and escape from Iwa, said Zetsu. Anyways, we have located its location in the southern lands of this continent. Perhaps a Jinchuriki that's already believed to be dead is the best way to begin anyways, said Deidara. What's this? You look as if you're just barely hanging in there, Deidara-senpai, said Tobi. You okay? I guess not. Tobi, it's been a long day. Even my patience has its limits, said Deidara. Just try saying something else and I'll assign you a cause of death. You're just going to bomb me to death, right? Asked Tobi. Art is an explosion. Katsu. Boom. What cried Tobi as the explosion from a small bit of clay that Deidara found in his other pocket detonated, sending the newest Akatsuki member airborne. Konoha. I see. So not only does Akatsuki consist of Uchiha Itachi and Hoshige Kisame, but Sasori and Deidara were also members, said Tsunade. Bakken, I also remember that Kisame guy mentioning another name. Kakuzu I believe, said Naruto, recalling his fight with Kisame. Tsunade let out a sigh and crossed her hands. Well, that doesn't help, said Jiraiya, appearing in the window. The only Kakuzu I know of is the one who tried to assassinate the Shodai nearly a century ago, around the time when the villages were first being formed. If the stories surrounding him are true, then Akatsuki truly has some monsters within their organization. Alright Team Kakashi, congratulations on completing your first S-rank mission. Unless you have anything else to discuss, you're dismissed, said Tsunade. Actually Bakken, can I speak with a Rosenin? Asked Naruto. You can. I however am needed in the hospital. We almost have the Kaima genes in Isaribi decoded, said Tsunade. We're never going to be able to remove them, but once we figure out how they work, perhaps we can make the activation of the gene something Isaribi can fully control herself and without side effects. Hold on, and what about Karen Nijin? Asked Naruto. The good news is that she's agreed to cooperate fully with the interrogation department and giving us all information she has available regarding Orochimaru, said Tsunade. As such, she's only going to be placed on probation for a few months before she's allowed to join our ninja forces as a Genin. That also brings me to something important I want to discuss with you, but it's something that can wait, so sometime later this week perhaps. Now if you'll excuse me. So what's up Naruto? Asked Jiraiya, he and Naruto being left alone in the Hokage's office. First, I think I figured something out regarding Orochimaru's curse mark, said Naruto, greatly piquing Jiraiya's interest. It actually absorbs natural energy into whoever bears it. Natural energy? Well that's definitely not good, said Jiraiya. Naruto proceeded to explain some of his discoveries from the mission to the Land of Sea. The instability of natural energy within those cursed seal freaks of Orochimaru's actually explains a lot. Nice catch there, Naruto. Now, what else did you want to talk to me about? I wanted to know if you knew anywhere I could train, said Naruto. Huh? I mean there are plenty of training grounds around Konoha, isn't that enough? Asked Jiraiya. I mean training as in more destructive training like with Kurama's powers and trying to complete the Rasengan, said Naruto. The last thing I want to do is blow up part of the village or release Kurama in the middle of it, sending the entire village into a panic. You know, there is that place where your father used to train, said Jiraiya. It's an old temple buried into the side of the mountains about an hour or so north of the village. Actually, that place should be more than enough to accommodate any training you do with Kurama, so long as you don't deliberately try to bring the place down with a couple dozen Baijudamas. Really? That'd be great, exclaimed Naruto. How about I show you tomorrow, said Jiraiya. Besides, if I understand correctly, your little girlfriend is out on a mission right now and won't be back until the following day and you guys have at least a week's worth of rest before Tsunade Heim sends you on any more missions, giving you plenty of time to spend with her. A perverted grin then crept onto Jiraiya's face. And don't think I don't know about those incidents during your mission, hee hee. Shut it you pervert. That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.